I have the pleasure and the privilege to interview the director of Ora Chaim, Rab Moshe Bak. Rab, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's exciting to be here.
That's the next question about Mexico. What prompted you to come to Mexico, to Ora Chaim?
New president at the time, Jose Penjos, called me up and he said, what do I need to do to get you to accept a job in Mexico? And I said, nothing.
He made the impossible.
Yeah, I said, I don't think there's anything to do. He said, you know what? Do us a favor. Come down, look at the school, and just give us some of your thoughts of how we can make this a better school. And that was my first mistake. I went and I fell in love with it. I really, I went for 2 weeks and I fell in love with the school. I fell in love with the people. I fell in love with the dream that Pepe Penjos had, and I fell in love with Mexico.
Can you describe Ora Chaim?
Ora Chaim, over the last 3 years, developed a unique and new identity. No longer do we want to not be yeshiva and not be magen. We want to stand up and say, we are Ora Chaim, and we have our own identity, and we have our own hashkafa. We're not gray, which is black and white. We're our own unique color. And the hashkafa and the derech that we decided to go with at Ora Chaim is the concept of Torah and derech eretz. The same God, the same Hashem that gave us Torah and mitzvot, the same God that gave us our culture, placed us in this world. There's a reason why we're here. And he taught that our job is to look at the world of materialism around us and to take the Torah and to make the world a better place. So in Ora Chaim, we tell our students all the time, I want you to go to a great university, but I want you to be great Jews. There is an idea in the world that derech eretz, which means the way of the world, materialism, if you take it with Torah, it's something so unique and gorgeous that gives you such inner joy. That's the concept of Torah and derech eretz.
What values do you want that your students learn from you and from the school?
Well, of course, everything we do as a Torah school, we go back to Torah values. That's the most important thing. But in our mission itself, we developed a new mission at Ora Chaim, and within the mission, we have 3 pillars, 3 key words that we want to teach our children. One is, we want our children to be empowered. When we say empowered, we mean we want to give them the tools to make their own choices. The second thing we want from our kids, which is very, very important, is that they have a connection to Judaism. Not just, I do mitzvot and I shake the lulav and I make the kiddush. Why do you shake the lulav? Why do you make kiddush? What does this do for us as a people? How does this connect me to Hashem? And then the third key word is what leads into your question, and that is contribution. We want our children to make a difference in the world. We want them to be great citizens of society. Now, to make somebody a contributor, to make someone think of others, to make someone say, one second, I'm here in this world to make a difference, not just to live for myself. Now we have to not only teach values, we have to teach it in a way that children can apply it to their lives. What's Ora Chaim's position with Eretz Yisrael, with Israel? It goes back to our original conversation, because when you don't have a clear hashkafa, when you are a school simply because you're not black and you're not white, it's hard to make decisions. It's hard to say what you want to be and who you want to be. When I came to Ora Chaim and we developed this idea of Torah derech eretz, that our job is to take the Jewish power source of Torah and to plug it into the world, to make the world a better place, then Eretz Yisrael became an easy decision for us. But our connection to Eretz Yisrael and Ora Chaim may be different than some schools that you may know. Our connection to Ora Chaim comes from thousands of years of history. It's not a modern political connection. It's a Jewish Torah connection. We love Eretz Yisrael because God chose it as our country, as our land. We love everything about Eretz Yisrael, its people, its culture, its history, etc. Exactly, because that's what our Torah and our people have loved for thousands of years.
This year has been very difficult for everyone.
Right.
What challenges have you been experimenting this year? as an educator and as a director of the Ora Chaim?
We left school on March 18th, 2020. In January, we were hearing things are coming out of China. And we saw that they're spreading out of China, we're spreading west. And I said to Patronato, what happens if this thing really spreads and we're out of school? For some reason, we decided to train the entire staff of Ora Chaim on virtual education. So months before we actually had to use it, we trained our staff in Moodle and Zoom and all these things. So unlike most of the schools in Mexico, by the time we were out in March, our teachers were trained in how to develop a new educational approach online. We really wanted to make sure. That's why the Ora Chaim, all the parents know, the virtual educational platform that we used is dynamic, interactive. It's not great, it's not the best. We'd rather our kids in the classroom. But our teachers were trained much more in advance than most schools.
How do you see Ora Chaim in 10 years?
We have a dream in Ora Chaim, together with our philosophy of Torah Derech Eretz, to produce students who are great Torah Jews and great contributors to society. Now this is a relatively new philosophy for Ora Chaim. So we're only, over the last 2-3 years, producing those kinds of students. And of course, you're not perfect right away, it takes time. But we see over the next 10 years that not only are we going to produce these kinds of students who are going to be great contributors to our community, but then they're going to send their children to our school. And some of them are wanting to go into education, they'll become our teachers. So the speed and the quality of what Ora Chaim is trying to do will start going faster and faster, deeper and deeper. So in 10 years, I see what we're doing now to be even more profound and more enjoyable, because the school is going to grow and a community is going to come around it, and we're going to be the pride, I believe, of the Mexican community.
So thank you very much for being here. Thank you for being in Mexico. Thank you for being in Ora Chaim, and thank you.
It's my pleasure, but I have to thank you and the community for inviting me, welcoming me, making me feel part of the community. Right away I felt that way. I felt the love and I felt the warmth. And it's with love and warmth that all human beings produce better results. So any results that I produce and any achievements that we have goes back to the source that the community invited me and welcomed me and treated me like a king. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.